All right. Welcome back to The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a bunch of cutscenes to sit through in the beginning here because I just saved awkwardly at the chapter end screen, so that'll be a fun start. Hello, Malbrand. Welcome to stream. Previously in Trails of Cold Steel, luck for us that Ouroboros is on vacation in Crossbell. Yeah, I don't think I could handle that right now. But maybe. We have a decent setup going, kind of, maybe. We are skipping so much time here. August 18th.
Mid-August. It was the peak of summer, and the sweltering sun was beating down on the residents of Trista.
Does he really write like this in his, diary journal thing?
After returning from Heimdall, we were given a whopping 5-day summer vacation before the school year resumed.
Hey, a vacation's a vacation.
Turns out, Thor sticks to its military roots, only granting extended vacations to students over the New Year's holiday. However, nobles are allowed to visit home, ostensibly to give them time to become familiar with their family's holdings.
It's really funny to me that they have, an extended New Year holiday, because in America, I feel like, do we not go back to school on the 2nd? Like, we have New Year's Day, and then we go back to school on the 2nd? I don't know, it's been a minute. But I feel like that's how America works. Hello, Rian. Welcome to stream.
And, as you might expect, that meant most students from classes 1 and 2 spent summer away from Trista.
I guess other countries put a lot more importance on the changing of the year than we do.
Meanwhile, classes 3 through 5 were stuck on campus, envying the nobility as they studied and trained as usual. The other members of Class 7 and I chose to stay in Trista as well, facing the heat with our fellow students.
It's a fantasy world with fantasy rules. Yeah, I know obviously this is a JRPG, so it's Japanese, but in China I know that for the new year, everything stops, they go on vacation, they full go into celebrate mode, but it's interesting that they do in this world. It's so hot. I'm dying in here. I'm sick of this heat already. Talking about it is just making me feel even hotter. The Academy should install an orbital air conditioner. At least then it'd be a little easier to cope. An orbital air conditioner? What is that? Well, it's this device that blows out cool air to help regulate a room's temperature. Maybe it'd help if you think of it as the opposite of a stove. I have never thought of explaining an air conditioner as being the opposite of a stove, but you know what? Fair enough. Why would users want to go home when it would mean seeing the world's best dad? That's a very tempting offer. Who wouldn't want to see that jerk? That's some kind of wizardry. I've heard of them, but aren't they supposed to be prohibitively expensive? Only the most modern buildings seem to be able to afford them. Do you have one in your house? Of course Elisa has air conditioners in her house. Who do you think she is? Well, there's one in the Rhineford Company's corporate headquarters, yeah. It'd be nice if Mother could spare one, for the Academy she sits on the board of directors for. Seems a bit much to hope for. This is a military academy, so I doubt we can expect to be indulged quite that much. Still, a machine to help us cool in the summer? Whoever first invented that should get a medal. They really should. I'll admit, the summer heat here is more difficult to cope with than in Legram. Legram? We'll eventually learn how this game pronounces that word. But as long as I think of it as another part of my training, it doesn't bother me all that much. Berea Hard gets similar summer heat waves, but there's usually a breeze blowing in from the canyon at this time of year. That does make summers a bit easier to manage. My hometown's up in the mountains, so it's pretty cool even around this time of year. Actually, now that you mention it, I would have thought you three would go back home for the summer, being nobles and all. You were given permission, weren't you? If everyone else was going home, I would have considered it. Don't lie, you've been avoiding your family, and that is not going to change. But in the end, I decided against it. I mean, it wasn't all that long ago I got to see Elise. Maybe next year. I came here to train. Until I feel like I've made significant progress, I have no intention of returning home. Some of you saw my father's mansion. Do you think I'd go back to that place willingly? I'd much rather stay here and take my chances with heat stroke. Fair enough. I guess Eustace doesn't love his brother more than he hates his father. Now we know. You're really that uncomfortable at home, huh? Still, hot as it is, there's a lot going on right now. You could sneak home and stay with your uncle and have him make you free food. That could be fun. Just like dye your hair a different color temporarily. No one would ever know. I doubt all the people headed to that conference at the end of the month have much time to be worrying about the heat. Oh, okay. So the trade conference is at the end of this month. That's where Crossbell's at. Got it. You make a good point. You're talking about the West Samaria Trade Conference, right? I like that deer icon. What is the deer icon for? That's the one. There's never been an international conference on that scale before, at least not in modern times. Mayor Dieter Croix, who also happens to be the International Bank of Crossbell's CEO, was the one who first proposed it. I've heard that Prince Olivert will be attending on behalf of His Majesty the Emperor, yet he's going with his bodyguard, who we rudely didn't get to see in this game. Still mad about that. Love that dude. And Chancellor Osborne is supposed to be attending too. Seems crazy to think we met them both just a few weeks ago. The Chancellor in particular was a pretty intimidating figure. Seems like a big, scary monster. I've heard he served in the Imperial Army before becoming a politician. Then 11 years ago, His Majesty entrusted him with the position of Chancellor. Wait, so he was given the position? He wasn't, like, elected or anything? Okay. Supposedly, a full 70% of the Imperial Army is under his jurisdiction. His real fame comes from establishing most of the nation's railway network centered on the capital. Though he's also been responsible for annexing several smaller countries and independent states around Erebonia. I believe those all took place without any bloodshed, though, at least as far as I'm aware. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if there was bloodshed, he would just sweep that under the rug. That's all hush-hush. And the remaining 30% is afraid of him? Yeah. He's a scary dude. He does not look like a nice guy. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he is. I am gonna press X to doubt, though. I wouldn't put too much stock in what he's selling. Military spending in this country has increased exponentially since he took up his position as chancellor. But I do love Lecter. And Lecter works for him. That's a conundrum. Oh yeah, I already read that. And that's only possible thanks to the tax revenue he gleans from the people of Heimdall and those annexed nations. Well, he was the one who ordered the construction of those 2 railway guns they've got pointed at Crossbell, too. Yeah. At one point, Erebonia was on the verge of a full-scale war with Calvard because of those things. Oh yeah. I heard that it was actually the Burl that proposed a way to avoid an armed conflict. They ended up signing the Non-Aggression Pact, right? Yep. Yeah, though, as I'm sure you've noticed, there's still quite a bit of tension between the 2 countries. I wouldn't be surprised if the issue reared its head again during the trade conference. Yeah. What do you think the trade conference is about, sir? You actually think the trade conference is about trade? Foolish fool. Chancellor Osborne's been a really popular figure in the capital, though. Popular enough that he seems to have a group of terrorists after him. He does seem to be the Imperial Liberation Front's main target, doesn't he? You know what? I remember when we were playing through Azure that there was awkwardly one member of the Imperial Liberation Front who had a character profile, like he had one of those like little 2D animated icons. I wonder if that person is like Gideon or some random nonsense, because Gideon seems the least useful of this group of individuals. Maybe. And they just like sent him there to get rid of him. You know, the hammer of judgment that shall topple the dictator and all that. Indeed, they seem to harbor a deep-seated grudge against him. He's definitely the most hateable. Their anger seemed a bit unusual in its intensity, didn't it? And delusional? Yeah, you're not wrong. He does seem like the type who'd make a lot of enemies, especially with a face like that. Well, I'd rather not speak ill of my father's close ally, but, come to think of it, isn't the instructor awfully late? How did Machias's father become, like, quote, friends with the Chancellor? That's so weird. There's such a weird pairing to me. It's well past time for homeroom to start. True, it should have started about 10 minutes ago, actually. I swear, that woman, she better not be sleeping off another hangover back at the dormitory. Wouldn't put it past her. I wish I could say there's no way our upstanding instructor would do that, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Excuse me. I'll have you know I did no such thing. Today.
Gotta have that little qualifier there. Yesterday, maybe. Today,
Instructor?
No.
Good morning, instructor.
Morning, everyone.
I swear I'll change their clothes back one
Anyway,
day.
I'll have you know I've got a good reason for being late today. And that reason is, we're going to be welcoming a new classmate today.
Oh. I kind of forgot we didn't already have Millium.
What?
That's my
A
bad.
transfer student at this time of year?
Seriously?
All right, come on in.
Righto.
Oh. Not Millium. Never mind.
Huh?
I completely forgot about this entirely.
Crow?
But Isn't he a second-year student?
I'm Crow Armbrust. Starting today, I'll be joining you fine folks as a member of Class 7. It's gonna be pretty sweet, guys.
He's so sparkly.
What?
Hello, Moriaris. Welcome to stream.
What? I mean, how?
Are you sure you want to know? It's a long tale fraught with the intrigue of school politics.
Or it could be that you failed a grade and got sent back a year.
I don't think I'd put it quite like that. Back in his first year, he slacked off so much that he ended up failing a few of his classes.
Yep.
Then he came crying to me in a panic, like, oh, me Instructor Sarah, they're not gonna let me graduate. So as a special exception, he's going to be joining us for the next 3 months to pay for his laziness.
You can't be serious.
That's an even more pathetic reason than I was bracing myself for.
I think you already know that Crow was one of the trial users for the Arcus test they ran last year.
An even more pathetic reason. That's so harsh.
So I thought he might be a good role model for you. In that sense, anyway. And don't forget, he'll also be joining us on our future field studies, too.
Nice. Looks like you saved me the trouble of having to explain it all. Anyway, let's let the good times roll. Oh, and since we're all classmates now, no need for all that sweet talking you lay on the other second years, all right?
Do we sweet talk the second years?
Right.
Easier said than done, I fear.
If he was any more laid back, he'd be comatose.
Instructor, I can't help but notice you left the door open.
Wait, is there someone else too?
Huh? Are you serious?
But there's only one empty desk.
Oh, I was hoping to catch you off guard.
And we only have one empty. Exactly.
All right, come on in and say hello.
I thought you forgot I was out in the hall!
Wait, so we do get Millium now? I did not realize we got them both at the same time. That's wild.
What?
What?
You must be joking.
Poor you, sis. He's like, you can't be serious. You must be joking.
Hey, aren't you?
You're the girl we met in the Nord Highlands. Yuppers! Long time no see, guys.
I'm sorry. Yuppers? Yuppers. Ah.
But I see a couple of you I don't know, so I guess I better introduce myself.
You'd be better served to do that with your eyes open.
I'm Millium.
There you
Millium
go.
Orion. And this here's Aragetlum. But we'll just call him Lammy for short.
Let's just summon the death robot in the middle of class. Why not? What could go wrong? New friend. Oh, I love its pose.
What the hell is that?
A new friend, Machias.
Holy crap!
It's that thing we saw at Ark's fort.
So this is that strange girl you met in the Nord Highlands.
Oh, and a little house rule before anything gets blown up. No bringing that thing out in the classroom. If he accidentally smashes a wall or blasts through the ceiling, I'm the one who's gonna get chewed out for it.
Boo. Fine.
Boo. I like Lammy.
Anyway. Nice to meet you guys.
What was that? I don't think I've ever been capable of that level of energy ever in my entire life.
Tell me you're kidding. Please?
I really wish I could.
Well, I can see we're in for some fun times these next 3 months.
She's a little silly goose. She's the type of person I look at and I'm like, one moment while I go drink 5 more coffees. 3 days went by. At first, no one was sure what to make of Crow Armbrust or Intelligence Division Agent Millium Orion's sudden transfer into Class 7. I need to see how Lecter and Millium play together. That must be a very interesting interaction. But within a matter of days, it almost felt like they'd been there all along. Really? Dreikels. I bet you if we knew whatever this language was on the back wall, it would tell us that Dreikels formed his army in the Nord Islands. I'm sure none of you need to be reminded that it was none other than the Emperor Dreikels who ended the War of the Lions. But did you know that historical records tell us he had amazingly few soldiers under his command? Initially, his allies numbered only a few confidants and several warriors from Nord. There we go. And while supporters rallied to him in each region, his ranks still couldn't hope to compare to the other princes' armies. Nonetheless, they continued to advance, liberating region after region, and after half a year of bloody battles, Prince Dreikels met perhaps his most well-known supporter. Millium, right? Look at Crow sleeping in the back row. At least they were smart enough to put him in the back where he couldn't distract anyone else. Sure do. Leanne Sandlot, also known as the Lance Maiden. Ooh, right you are. Well done. Sandlot was the daughter of a count who ruled over a remote region, and accounts tell us she showed great martial skill from a young age. In particular, her skill with the lance was unparalleled. No records exist of her ever being bested in combat. I still need to go watch her backstory since I did not successfully beat her. I'll do that one day. The Lance Maiden also had a group of mighty warriors under her command who fought alongside her in battle. Oh, not turbo mode. Perhaps you'd like to illuminate us as to the name of this famous band, Reen. I sure would. I do know this answer. It's Eisen something. The group of mighty warriors led by the Lance Maiden, that's the... Thank you for making this easy for me, but I think this is also something. The Grolsritter, maybe? But it is Eisenritter. I'm pretty sure I titled a video after them. That's like the only reason I remember. Also known as the Iron Knights. They were a band of knights said to be able to charge across the battlefield like lightning, cutting down all in their path. They're like Valkyrie. Correct. You've done your homework. In the form of the previous game. Yes, I have. The Wandering Prince met the Lance Maiden one day during a prolonged conflict in a remote region of the country. After recognizing each other as reliable and trustworthy, they pledged to fight together under a united banner. I think Instructor Thomas would literally die if he ever met the Lance Maiden. I feel like we should try and make that happen for him. With the Lance Maiden and her knights bolstering his ranks, Dreikels' army swept through one region after another. In just a year, he was able to defeat the other princes and free the imperial capital Heimdall. As an interesting footnote, the castle the Eisenritter used as their base of operations 250 years ago just so happens to be only a hop, skip, and a jump away from Lara's home in Legrim. That's nifty. Indeed, it's known as Lohengrin Castle. It's a beautiful old building situated on the shore of Lake Ebble, to the west of Legrim. Oh, you've mentioned that before. Does anyone live there now? I just love Crow sleeping in the background. Every time I see him, it just makes me happy. No, due to the dangerous terrain there, no one goes near it. These days, it exists simply as a relic of a bygone era. The Arseed family is responsible for the care and maintenance of the castle, though really only minimal work is done. Speaking of the Arseed house, wasn't one of your ancestors the Eisenritter's second in command? Indeed, the Lance Maiden's most trusted assistant and confidant, from what I understand. The Sandlat family line ended with the death of the Lance Maiden. And it's partly because of that the Arseed family mourns her death each year. Man, I really need to go watch her backstory. I vaguely remember someone telling me she's similar to, like... I don't even know what I was about to say. I'll figure it out later. I see. Ooh, what a fascinating story. Legram? Huh? Never had a mission there, so I've never been able to go. Maybe I should have stopped by when I was to Bereahard a while back. You'd think she'd at least try to conceal the fact that she gets sent all over the country on secret missions. Why would she try? We already know what she is. I know. She totally just let it slip that she was doing something in Bereahard, too. Well, I suppose it's better than her being all distant and cagey around us. I remember what I was going to say, yin, that it was like how yin is passed down through the family. Maybe, maybe not. AP increased by 1. Thank you.